Nothing else is. God is. That's the highest yajna in it. But the second higher state of yajna is with the mind, where you say, not just I will not, but you lose the interest in wanting to grab. All the senses, taste, touch, sight, they also touch, they grab. In the Vedic times, when this would have cognized, when it would have come about, lots of yajnas took place, ritual. But that's not all that's meant here. It's a metaphoric statement about how Arjun, how our actions and our life can purify our mind, our ego, our buddhi, so that we can move towards immersing in the self. Guruji used the word immersed in knowledge. Everything is about purifying one's mind through sacrifice or fire. We talked about the example of fire in the gut, how we eat, offering everything. The food is God, the mouth that's chewing is God, the digestive process is God, the digestion itself is God, the Agni that digests the food is God. All is God, nothing else is. Lord Krishna is telling Arjun how to purify through different means his chitta, his aham, his intellect. Am I clear? Did that make sense? Please just give me your hands up. Yes? Okay. So Mala, let's start from 25, please.
Daivam eva pari yajnam yogina paryupasate brahmagnava pari yajnam yajne naivopajuhvati.
Other yogis duly offer sacrifice only in the form of worship to gods, while others perform sacrifice by offering the self with a small s by the capital S, self itself, in the fire of Brahma. You see, he's now going to talk about what it is to be like a yogi by doing XYZ sacrifice, XYZ yajna. No? Some yogis, what do? They do the rituals. They offer, as they're saying, sacrifice in the form of worship. Now today, how do we do that? We don't maybe daily have big yajnas and fires, but how do we do that? It purifies the chitta. It brings us closer to the source. What do we do? Like Guru Puja. How many of we do Guru Puja? Correct? This is a yajna. The worship, the ritual, quote, ritual in which we purify the mind and we purify the heart. This we do on maybe you just light a candle. You might not even do the full Guru Puja, but you light a candle in a place, you have an altar, you bow down. That moment, what are you doing? It's a yajna. There is a fire involved in it. You are connected to something greater than the senses. Where is your attention? Again and again, controlling, bringing the senses back in is a sacrifice. The senses want to run towards an object and grab it. Any moment that you pull them back in, move away from the object of the senses, the gratification of the senses, go to something higher, greater. What have you done? Become like a yogi, moving towards the self. So we do that on a daily basis, somewhere, somehow or another, ritual. Then some other yogis, he says, they just offer the small self into the big self. It's an act of surrender. I'm helpless. I can't do this. A sense of prayer, even if you don't light a candle and you don't do the rituals. How many times do you find yourself folding your hands, even if it's not physical, internally, mentally, just saying, help me. I cannot do this. This is all your will. Let thy will be done. Are we clear? These are small reminders in our day to bring us back to something greater than what's happening outside, and it's a way to purify, to cleanse the mind, the buddhi, and ego. I think that's correct, right? Man, buddhi, ahankar. Mind, intellect, and ego. So, I mean, don't just listen to it, hear something, and maybe something strikes you as like, oh, I do that, or that's easy to do. Then you remember that and you use it in your activity. Are you following what I'm saying? So that's one type of sacrifice. Which was the first one? The highest was knowing God is. Everything is God. Nothing else is. God is. That's the highest yajna. But if that is not possible, here's some people do rituals. They purify their system. They connect to the source, come closer to knowledge, come closer to the divine. Oh, but some other people, they offer their small self, the ego, to the big self, into the big self. Yeah? Next.
श्रोत्रादीनीन्द्रियान् यन्ये संयमाग्निषु जुह्वति शब्दादीन् विषयानन्य इन्द्रियाग्निषु जुह्वति.
Wow. Others offer as sacrifice their senses of hearing, etc., into the fires of self-discipline. Other yogis, again, offer sound and other objects of perception into the fire of the senses. Look, I don't know how you hear it, but others offer as sacrifice their senses into the fires of self-discipline. Now, this alone we know. Gurudev spoke about fasting. You're offering what? Touch, taste, sight, hearing, all of those things. You say, no, I will not. Today I will not. I will refrain from it. You see food on the table, you want to eat it. Correct? And you say, no. Not because it's good for me or not good for me. No. I'm content. No. In there is sacrifice. What is the fire? Because again and again, fire comes up, the purification. That sense of restraint is fire. Think about this. Fire is friction, correct? If you rub your hands together, hands get warm. If you strike two sticks or stones together, the potential for a spark is there. Two electrons colliding, there's energy. Are you with me? Restraint, friction, pulling the senses away from their objects as a self-discipline. I will not. For one day, I will not speak. That's self-discipline. You are restrained. You want to say something, you will not speak. Think about what we really do in our silence course. We not only don't speak, though we want to, we hold back. That restraint where the senses want to leap out, but some part of you, the awareness in you says, no, no. And you restrain back. That is fire. That is the offering. That is the friction, if you will, of purification. This is really, listen, maybe stepping out a little bit, but our senses don't just do a single act in a way. Like the moment you see, it's not just that you look. You touch also, you grab also. That's what I'm trying to say. If you hear something, we don't just hear. In the act of hearing, there's two possibilities. In the act of smelling, there's two possibilities. In the act of seeing, there's two possibilities. What is it? You can either just see, or just hear, or just taste, or grab what you see, taste, touch. Do you understand the distinction? Give me a heads up. See, we grab. You see, if you just see and nothing erupts in your mind, I like it, I want it, I don't like it, I don't want it, oh, I want to see. If you don't turn around, have you seen you walking on the streets? People see somebody walking in front of them. They don't just, you're going to see. Eyes open, sight is natural. Sight is natural. When is it free? When are you in the self? When it's just sight that you see and you keep moving, versus if you follow. What has happened? You have now grabbed. You are also now touching. And it is here that self-restraint, self-discipline, the sacrifice of yajna comes in. It's very subtle what I'm saying. I hadn't quite, as I read this and as I'm sharing with you, can you see that you cannot close up your senses? You need them. But most of the time, our senses are running towards, they're not just doing their job. Ears are meant to listen, they listen. But with the listening, something erupts, a feeling arises of wanting or not wanting. Now you are also touching that object of listening, not just listening. It's no longer an act that is free of karma. It has pulled you in. It has pulled the mind, the buddhi, and the ego in the outward direction. We are stepping away from yajna, stepping away from self, stepping away from knowledge, and into maya. Are we clear? Do you hear what is being discussed here? And this is a practice. When we're moving about in the day, just notice, when do you simply see and when do you see and grab? Maybe that's an easy way for you to recall. Oh, I just grabbed. Oh, there I go again. I just grabbed. Oh, I just saw. I just heard. Even taste. Even before you've eaten it, you're already touching the food, grabbing the food. I include myself in it, right? We. But some other times we can look and say, no. It could be the same piece of food. And if the mind is going towards, but then you observe it, you pull your awareness back in. That is the gulab jamun example that I gave those couple sessions ago. Then that is even a higher state of discipline. One is the discipline of, I will not eat that. I will not speak that. I will not touch that. That is discipline. It's good. It has fire in it. But the second higher state of yajna is with the mind, where you say, not just I will not, but you lose the interest in wanting to grab. Internally, you're pulling back. Are we clear? This is something to really practice. It could be between now and next week. Choose a sense. Don't try to choose all the senses. Choose one sense. And I will just acknowledge within myself, I just saw and grabbed. I listened and touched. I did not. It was just a listening without anything erupting in my mind. No dialogue, no conversation, no judgment, no perception, no need to speak. If one of the senses are active and a need to say something comes, now two senses are active. Energy is going outward. And don't speak even though you need. Now there's even more yajna. Deep purification happens when you do it consciously and not just out of physical discipline, through the mind. No? It's an amazing verse, this 26, 25, what's being offered here. Because remember, Arjun is asking the question, why are you making me do this action when knowledge is greater? Why are you making me do this? Because you're not established in the knowledge. Your nervous system is not purified. You cannot hold it. But more importantly, you must act. Action is inherent to birth and life. You have to act. How do you have to act? Do your kartavya, duty. No, we spoke about this. It boils down to two things. We're continuously facing the battle between kartavya, duty, as a role that we play at its highest, mother, father, daughter, son, whatever it is, and moh, attachment, which comes with greed, grab, and all those kinds of things. And we justify one for the other. That means the mind, the buddhi, the ego is not yet purified to be very clear. No, this is what I must do. versus running around with all the stories and the reasons to justify why you don't do what you know you should, but what you want, driven by calm, driven by desire action, and driven by the fruit of the action. Am I clear? This is very important. It's a brilliant way for us to be aware in activity. And what is Lord Krishna saying? When you do that, you are like a yogi. You are closer to me. You become my dear. My dearest is who? Verse 24. But you also, when you do these moments, you are my dear. Mala, next.
सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयमयोगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते.
Others sacrifice all the functions of their senses and the functions of the vital airs into the fire of yoga in the shape of self-controlled, kindled by wisdom. These are really big verses. Others sacrifice all the functions of their senses and the functions of the vital airs. This is that samadhi portion that Gurudev spoke about. When we withdraw, when we sit in meditation and decide. Notice how he has started. Gurudev makes it so simple, we don't realize how much he's saying. When we sit to meditate, we have this notion of what? A comfortable body position, and then I want nothing. I do nothing. I am nothing. What have you done? You've started to pull all the senses inward. You are sacrificing all of your senses, all of your mana, buddhi, ahankar, senses, wanting, doing, being, moves in a different direction. This is the fire of yoga in the shape of self-controlled, kindled by wisdom. Meditation. Actually, we don't even realize we know part 2 course and how amazing it is, and sahaj, what we're doing through the act of the mantra, but we don't really see how big it is until you sort of start to read portions of this, or maybe it's just me, I don't know, but think about it. Everything that's being said here in chapter 4 happens in those 3.5 days. Now, it's not here and there you do it. That's not what Lord Krishna is speaking about. It's a systematic, a yajna, even as a ritual, is very specific. It's systematic. Correct? It's organized. It has rules. It has regulations. Means it's there on a regular basis, not here and there, as in when you feel like it. Oh, today I did this. Today I did pranam. Today I did guru puja. But on a regular basis. And this is why we say, no, we make it very pragmatic. Go once every 6 months or once a year to a silence course, sit in, and we talk about it from the perspective of reducing stress. And it's pragmatic and it's true. Pulling the awareness inward, senses inward, not speaking, not tasting so much. Why we used to put in the old days attention on food during silence course was very specific. You got a certain amount, some specific things. And I remember the early courses, there was almost no dinner also. So all the senses were being disciplined, if you want. Internalized is a better word, and coming to this state of silence, triggered through wisdom, kindled by wisdom. No? Mala, go ahead.
द्रव्ययज्ञास्तपो यज्ञा योगयज्ञास्तथा परे स्वाध्यायज्ञानयज्ञश्च यतयः संशितव्रताः.
Some perform sacrifice with material possessions. This also purifies wealth. It purifies me and mine. It loosens the grip on the mind level when you give, when you share material possessions. We know about this. Yes? Some offer sacrifice in the shape of austerities. I will not speak for today. Every Mondays I fast. Every full moon I walk 10 miles and offer water to whatever, the sun, the moon, so on and so forth. Others sacrifice through the practice of yoga. Sitting and doing this has a lot of fire in it. Arm wants to go down and you bring it up. You want to get up and do laundry because that's so much more important than sitting here doing these, and you sit there and don't do it. No, there is an enormous amount of friction. Mind is moving instead of outward, we're pulling it inward. That is the friction. It wants to run out. And we are gently, kindly, slowly saying, no, come back to something bigger. No, come back. No? While some striving souls, observing austere vows, perform sacrifice in the shape of wisdom through the study of sacred text. Like what we're doing now. No? On a regular basis, as and when, nilly-willy, that is not what it's saying. Look, it says austere vows. See? Some striving souls, observing austere vows, perform sacrifice in the shape of wisdom through the study of sacred text. No, you know, okay, Tuesday evenings I go to do this. 100 other things could be pulling the senses, but say, no, this is what I go to do. No, on a daily basis, I read a knowledge facts. No, whatever it might be, where the mind is moving towards the self, immersing towards knowledge, to the source, to the divine, to Lord Krishna, to the divine within oneself. We do this on a regular basis. What are we doing? Man, buddhi, ahankar, purifying. And purifying, maybe it sounds a little like, oh, we're icky and dirty and impure. That is not what it means. It means, you can look at it like this, where clarity, intuition, you operate from a place of source, essence, versus conditioning, which is past, which is dead, which has no value in this moment. What worked 10 days ago may or may not work in this moment. When man, buddhi, ahankar, when these faculties are clear, that's a good word for purification also, when they are clear, not shrouded by the past, not shrouded by the fear, the worry, the anxiety of the future, or the regret or the anger or the blame of the past, then you see through clearly. Here, actions do not yield consequences in the way we think. Then we can actually be free from the fruit of the action. We take different approach to choosing an action. We don't get caught up in, I don't want to do this, but I have to. I want to do this, but I can't. Are you clear? This is amazing. Okay. One last one. Let's see.
The remaining two are together.
Oh, yes, I see. All right. We'll stop at 28. Anyway, just another minute. So will you do that? Let's make a choice for this week between this Tuesday and next Tuesday. Pick a sense, one sense. Don't try to think about it so much. Oh, this one's easy, this one's hard. Just pick one. And be mindful. Do you just use that sense as a function, or are you grabbing with that sense as well? You'll see it's an interesting exercise, I think, for all of us. Good? We'll do it? All right. Very good. Just notice, just that it keeps awareness inward. Our mind is not pushing out, Gurudev's words were, yagya is action that brings good to you, and it unites. Unites to what? The self, the higher self. Honoring divine, honoring the knowledge, and taking everyone with you. This is a yagya. Deva Puja, honoring the elements, taking all those who are around you with you and sharing. Is how he described it. So this is what we're going to do. The moment the senses stop going out and you move inward, you connect to the higher, greater good. And that naturally brings something, uplifts everybody around you, including yourself. Good? All right. 7:15. Anybody, any thoughts? Let's officially close and then we'll come back. All right? Let's just close. So those who need to go, eyes closed. Nice long breath in. And let it go. Notice as you're listening to the sounds in the environment, is this just the act of listening, function of the ears? Or is it also touching at the same time? Just notice. As you hear my question, can you allow it to be heard without wanting to do? Or does the mind run to the do? Don't judge it, just notice. Even the idea of what's next, is that in your awareness? What do you mean? Am I doing it right? Notice all that. Don't look to solve it. Let it be. Breathe in. And breathe out. Even the act of breathing in and out. Did you just breathe in and let it go? Or is there some grabbing? Oh, breathe in, let something go. What left? What didn't leave? I feel relaxed. I don't feel relaxed. My breath was deep. It was not deep. And can you let that chatter be? Faculties for function without a grab behind it or a push behind it. Jai Gurudev. I understood the word effortless in a different way in those couple of minutes. I don't know if anybody got. you know? We hear Gurudev say constantly, let go all your effort, let go all your effort. But you see, it's the grab. It's eyes don't just see, they touch also. I want you to really think about this. We dress either wanting to touch or inviting touch. Think. Oh my God. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? See, actual physical touch is not allowed for everybody. But we invite it to touch or to be touched. You put on perfume, it's smell. Men, women, cologne, whatever. You put on some nice scent. What is it? You might smell and invite touch. Oh, you smell nice. Touch. Done, finished. The senses went out. There's no self-discipline there. No? You see a beautiful flower. You look, you see it's beautiful. You might even touch to experience it, but behind it, if something else erupts, then it's not just the sense in the moment. All the senses, taste, touch, sight, they also touch, they grab, or they invite. There's an invitation to touch and grab. Just think for a second. And that's what we are going to observe for a week. Good? No? As you dress in the morning, and as you're walking about, you just think about what I'm saying. As we're talking, you're walking down the street, someone looks or doesn't look. You either got touched or didn't get touched, and got affected by it or didn't get affected by it. Either. Do you understand what I just said? That is naturally there. You walk into a group, someone says hello. They didn't just speak, they also touch. If your mind says, how come they just said hello? I haven't seen them for a month and all they said is hello. Or they didn't say hello at all. The sense of hearing, the sense in terms of speaking, it's grabbing for more. We're constantly touching or inviting touch, and we're not fully aware of it. So that's our week. That actually is a very interesting, the word is not interesting, but notice how easily the senses get lost. Is it possible to taste without grabbing? Yeah, you taste, you eat something, and the next thought is, I love it, I want more. Eat, taste. Remember the gulab jamun, what would you do? This tastes delicious. Where is the pleasure of taste arising? Remember I said there's a deeper layer of the yajna when you bring your awareness into it. If you see yogis, those who have reached that state, if you look at Guruji, all the senses are active, but there is no grab behind it. There isn't, oh, I want or don't want. You see? We can taste, but we sacrifice food. We're willing to have self-discipline around food, but the taste is what has to be. Guys, okay, listen. I know the session is officially over, but listen. Sense control is not the control of the object. It's the control of what the sense does. So taste, that's this notion of what Gandhi used to do, put neem chutney in the food. You are doing what? Sacrificing taste. This doesn't taste so good. It needs more salt. Oh, I need different food. Why am I eating the same thing? Then what? So you stopped eating for a day, but you're still tasting, wanting. You have not sacrificed taste. You have not pulled that sense of taste in. We have, it's not that it's bad. That's one top surface layer of sense control. That's the word I'm looking for. Do you understand that? Sense control is two things. The sense, what it does, and the object of that sense. We can begin by restraining from the object of that sense, but what about the function of that sense? Where I want to taste more. This is so good, and it's happening because I'm eating this food. When you start to pull back your awareness into yourself, not in the object of the sense, then that's another layer of yajna, higher state of yajna, if you want. Look, I'm not saying this to you, okay? I'm reaching my own clarity about certain things as we're talking and realizing, oh, you know, where does taste drive? I don't even know. I can eat the same khichdi I have for like 10 years, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Khichdi. Oh, add another. No, it doesn't matter. Just give it. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's okay. You know? Oh, I need to see things. I need to do, okay. This is something to really reflect on as we're talking. Don't you view this in a different way? Or at least I am. I'm seeing it in a much wider, broader sense, this notion of sense control. Mm-hmm. Just this notion, I was just thinking just now is, you know, I'm going gray now, right? You can see all the grays are coming in. And then somebody saying, Didi, you're too young to have gray hair. What are they saying? Get touched. Why? It's how it looks. Do you see? It's not, oh, gray hair is not healthy. It's none of those things. It's the notion of, oh, gray hair. Okay. You're too young to listen. I'm not telling you dye your hair, don't dye your hair, or anything like that. But there's some freedom from that. There is some release. 10 years ago, if I had gray hair, I would have been like, oh no. Now I'm at that place of, okay, forget it, whatever. This is just time and growing up, I suppose. But sacrifice, yajna, is when you consciously choose to do that. I just turned growing gray into something spiritual. Oh, Lord. Leave it to human minds, what we do. Please do the exercise. I think it's good as a regular thing, but at least till next Tuesday, we take a vow. Yes? All right. Vera, you had a question.
Yes, you had talked about kartavya versus moh. To me, moh, I think you mean attachment, right? And
Yeah.
kartavya is duty. But you can do an action out of just love.
Yes.
I think you can have love without having that deep moh part of it and without feeling it a sense of duty. So I think there's a third part to it, which for example, I made something for my daughter when she was young. I made a sweater for her. I didn't have to make the sweater. It was not my duty to make the sweater because she had other clothes. And on the other hand, it's not like I gave her the sweater and then because I'm like deeply attached to the fact that she's wearing a sweater made by me. It was just out of love I made it. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a third point there. It's duty is definitely there, and there is that attachment which can.
And you see the act of duty as responsibility for something. That is not, dharma is a bigger word. It doesn't translate. There's no word for dharma that I could come up with. But as a mother, you love your children. As a mother, you love. That's also just possible, period. I don't have children, quote, as a mother. But dude, I have so many children. You know, I may not knit them sweaters, but every so often I will call, what are you doing? How are you? You know, it's not out of duty in that sense, right? So love naturally springs forth action. But where it's my children versus other children is where we are evolving to, where we see my children beyond just those who we gave birth to, or who are our sisters, or so on and so on and so on. You know? It's very interesting. I've seen people do calls. Sometimes they'll be two siblings and they have children and they love each other as siblings and they love the nieces and nephew until they've gotten to a certain age. And then a subtle competition starts happening about which college and which kid is, becoming more of a party kid and which one is focused into studies. And then they talk to Didi two separately, and there's a whole, do you understand what I'm saying, right? Like that happens very naturally. So yes, Vera, an act of love that springs forth is also part of that doesn't carry anything. It's just an act of love and you move on. You're not attached to it. And understand, moh is more than attachment. It's that which is me and mine. That is what attachment means. And the moment you go to me and mine, you are now separating, you're dividing. There's other. Me and mine can be my body, my ideas, my thoughts, my opinions, my likes, my dislikes, my people, my house, my belongings. And in all of it, at some level, we are strengthening the me. That's why Gurudev is saying we purify wealth by sharing material possessions. It's a way to reduce the me-ness or expand the me-ness. You can look at it both ways. Me-ness, not meanness. Me-ness. Yeah. All right. Good? Done? It's good. Okay. Jai Gurudev, Didi, effort is grab or conditioned, effortless is performing action with relaxation. Yeah, it's just the function without the push and the pull. I mean, we say this 1,000 times, this push and pull idea, craving and aversion. But when you think about it, the way I was saying, you see and you're touching. Especially when I kind of said it from this perspective, you get all dressed up and you go out. And what are you doing? You're inviting somebody else's senses to engage. No? But that means you're already out. You're also touching. It's I could go on about it, I don't want to. I want you to ponder it. But it's very interesting. It's so beautiful to have this another level of awareness after today's session, watching our action closely and yet learning to let go. Didi, all of last week, drip, drip, let it be was my mantra. I hope that you all remembered that. Drip, drip, let it be. No? It's a very good drip, drip, drip. It's good, these little things, just to simplify this for our life, because chapter 4 is purifying action. That's what it's about. Stepping out of merit and demerit of action, rising above. And the only way that's possible is through purification. It's a word, we say purify, but clear. Making the faculties more translucent so that the radiance of us can come through. You see? Antonia, your hand is up.
Me?
Yeah.
The mosquitoes were crazy last week in Brazil. And usually I get really angry, but after the last session, I was laughing at them while I was meditating and everything. And it was a blessing. What came to me in this week's session is that I personally find it very hard to maintain the effort of not engaging. I can not engage for like a week. Usually I remember our sessions for 1, 2, 3 weeks, but then my mind gets in the next thing. And sometimes mostly with pleasures, like
It's
it's
okay
easy now
though.
to have food, and then it kind of like I feel like it comes the opposite way. It's like, oh, now I have to eat a lot, and I'm like, oh no, again and again.
Well, but you see what you just did? Oh, now I have to eat a lot. oh no, that's a certain type of restraint, But again, when the faculties are clogged, then it's very easy to lean into that which takes us out, letting the conditioning drive us. And this conditioning gets dismantled, and we don't mind. If you remembered it one way, no problem. The commitment is that I'm moving towards that direction. I do it on a regular basis, that you come back every Tuesday, or your practices at home, or your meditation. And here and there, I often say this: if you do something 10 times, just make it a rule. I give myself permission to do it 9 times, only 1 out of 10 times I will not do it. Like every Friday I need to drink. Don't drink. But every Friday I need to drink. What are we here for? Sense. We have all that reasoning. Okay, and I would have to say, great, bully for you. No problem. But then say, one Friday of every 10th Friday, I will not drink, and I will still go to that party, and I will still be there. I'm telling you that one day is a major yagya according to what we're discussing, and that will have an impact on a second Friday, somewhere, somehow, some jijak. Jijak is some hesitation will be there, that, so you're in the practice of it. So it's okay. Don't worry.
I don't know why it doesn't. I often feel that I'm like going backwards,
No. This is not possible. If you were going backwards, you wouldn't be able to have this conversation in this tone, in this moment. It just wouldn't be. I'm just telling you, look at people who do have that thing of eating and they can't let go. They can't just. There's a lot of emotion or lack of awareness or recognition or ownership that's what's going on. You can't go backwards in it. And it's fine. It's okay. Push and pull. Okay, this happened. Move on. It's all right. It's okay. All right. All done? Good. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.